Hello, everybody, and welcome. All thanks to LD Mobile. This is NBL Overtime. And if the hashtag See Incredible was ever going to be more apt, it was over the course of the weekend. Point guards went to a whole new world. The Sydney Kings, well, they shoved the defence right back in Corey Homicide Williams' face, and plenty more over what was a monstrous weekend. Hashtag NBL Overtime. Hashtag See Incredible to get involved. Hello.
What's going on, man?
Man, I'm ready. I'm pumped.
I'm pumped too.
You look pumped. You're glistening. You look. I've never seen you look this good.
I mean, I appreciate that one, but the weather's amazing. Summer is back in Melbourne. Everybody has to be feeling good.
All right, Liam Santa Maria, as I welcome you, and a very big happy birthday. And this is an historic moment because it officially means that by years I am again the youngest person on the panel, man. So I hope you've had a nice day.
I have, thank you. Yeah, no, it's this is exactly where I want to be on my birthday.
Happy birthday, Liam.
Thank you.
And I have a gift. I want to be the first person outside of your immediate family to give you a gift.
Whoa.
Thank you.
You know, you have been extremely supportive and a good friend, off and on camera. So I am going to give you 2 VIP tickets. Latrobe Financial, bringing Shaq down.
The diesel. Yeah, thanks, man.
Shout out to Greg O'Neill. I got you covered. 2 VIP, not GA. You know I don't play around when I do things. Is that a meet and greet? Listen, roll with me. You rolling with the winners. I'll make plays happen for you. This is your birthday gift. You +1.
Can we make... You know what would take this to the next level?
Talk to me.
You put some kind of stop in effect to ensure Cam's not there.
Hang on.
No.
Hang on.
Can we do that?
Because of the fact that it's your birthday, you have a +1.
Hang on.
You know who that's going to be.
My wife.
There you go. Got you. Cam, you got a lot of ass kissing if you want a good ticket from me. You got 27 weeks, so once a week I'm expecting a good one.
I already got 2 tickets, so if anyone wants to come with me, hashtag See Incredible, hashtag NBL Overtime, @CamLuke on Twitter. I've got 2 VIP tickets. I don't have a wife, I just need a date, so hey, bring it on in. But I've got a better present than that.
You got a better present?
I got a better present than that.
What's topping this?
I'll tell you what's topping it.
All right.
Hit it.
Uh-oh.
Oh!
Cam.
Look at Liam.
Really?
Hey, nice cross. Behind the back. Get out. Left hand finish?
No.
Oh, who's less? Liam Santa Maria.
There he is.
Oh. Wow, that's Tony Ronaldson studied just quietly.
Wow. Gorgeous?
Trying to look good naked.
Yeah, Liam.
Gorgeous, like, what were you thinking? What were you thinking trying to take Bradley Sheridan?
Oh, man, vintage Liam.
There you go.
Oh.
This was a good team as well that you found yourself on back in 2000.
Should have won.
Ronald said,
Yep.
Liam.
Oh,
Fit.
Late night practice
hours.
sprints.
2 a.m. that was.
Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
Hey,
On
dropping dimes.
Yeah.
Post-game interview, 1 point, 2 assists, 50% from the free throw.
Yes.
Oh my God! Happy birthday, Liam.
Thought we burnt the footage.
Oh
Never.
my God!
Never had to dig deep in the... I actually had a pretty big day talking to Statman out the back on a couple of different topics, but we'll get to that.
Wow.
But anyway, let's get to not only from one great NBL point guard to a bunch of others, because it was a huge weekend when it comes to the little men dominating the NBL and standing up, putting their team on their shoulders and performing as we've really, in the end, have become accustomed to. And I'm going to ask you straight up, Corey Homicide Williams, out of all the superstar point guards, look at that. As a studs and duds dominated by the guards. It's on nbl.com.au. And what a weekend with little men. I'm going to start with you, Homicide. Who impressed you the most this weekend?
The point guard that impressed me the most, Jerome Randall.
Ooh.
Here's why. The numbers speak for themselves. Obviously, they all have awesome numbers. But Jerome Randall, Chi-Town's finest, went ham. This is the Jerome Randall we knew who first came to Australia. Talking that talk, handling, behind the back, game winner. That's the Jerome Randall we all love to see here. When he comes with that type of energy, it's hard to beat. And if you don't want one game winner, here's another one. 2-0 that weekend, he's laughing because that's how good he is feeling right now. You got to understand, not only did he go 2-0, not only did he have 2 game-winning shots, His team is in third place. Who the hell saw that coming? I sure didn't.
They're fourth. But
Okay,
I like your
fourth.
idea.
Either way, they in the top 4. That's the reason why he is the guard of the round for me.
He was awesome.
He was.
Loved how he was just cutthroat and just took him to the victory. I'll tell you what, we got to shout out John Roberson.
Oh, my God.
Because what Roberson did on Sunday evening at Melbourne Arena was insane. This is the triple that sent it to overtime. And I like the way he created his own daylight, something he's had a little bit of trouble doing in crunch situations over the course of the season. And he just manned up. They brought him over to be the man in terms of getting buckets from the perimeter and in big situations. Mitch Creek is going to do it from the opening tip all game long. But in the fourth quarter and in clutch situations like this, John Roberson needs to be that guy. And this week in that game he was. And that was, let's not mess around, one of the all-time most explosive scoring outbursts we've ever seen in the
That was incredible.
Might talk a little more about that in a moment. I've got Casper Ware for mine because, of course, the Melbourne-Sydney battle, zip and 2 over the weekend. He just came out, 27 points. There was a couple of boos, but they were very, 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 very diminished in passion. That's how the game started, and he just slapped them right in the eyes from the opening tip. And he's someone who loves the moment. We've seen him do it in this building in the opposition colours a lot. But any single time, Melbourne United, even there, they were almost back to single figures. He just stands up and delivers. And when he does this for whole 4 quarters, they are almost unbeatable. Defensively, they were brilliant. But Casper Ware to stand up in that arena he knows so particularly well and do that for mine in what was a huge weekend. And Studs and Duds is a great read, nbl.com.au, talking about the little men. I'm so excited my earpiece has fallen out, but Casper Ware for mine, but he was huge.
I hear you. Bryce Cotton was obviously terrific as well.
Yes,
Led them
was.
to a 2-0 weekend. You know what a lot of those Melbourne United fans were thinking sitting in the front row, watching it happen again? We probably should have ponied up.
Probably. No, probably about that. Let me tell you something. He absolutely owns Melbourne United. Everything he's doing there now, he was doing in practice against them. That same team was looking to him to carry them in whenever it got difficult for him. So for him to go back in that building, he's like, I'm going to torch you guys every time I see you.
You know his struggles from the field and his shooting struggles so far this season? In 3 games against Melbourne United, he's averaging 30 a game at over 50%.
You know, it's personal.
You know what he's always done? He's always struggled at the start of NBL season shooting-wise. It's a weird situation.
There's no struggle against that team.
No,
Definitely not.
And he'll end up being probably the MVP of the league. We'll get to that shortly.
Come on, man.
You heard me. But we're not going to argue it now. I'm going to talk about John Roberson, 21
It's your
points.
earpiece, man.
Thank you. Thank you, Shaq Jr. John Roberson was outstanding. 21 points in 6 minutes. Homicide, I'm going to fix my earpiece. Hopefully I can't hear you talk. Tell me what you liked about this.
I mean, this game was incredible. I mean, it was an arm wrestle throughout the whole game. But what John Roberson did in the manner that he did it, in those last 2 possessions, that was... I've never seen no basketball with my eyes in the NBL like that in those type of situations. To be honest with you, there's no way in hell I thought they were going to win that game. That was the unwinnable. All Kansas had to do was hold the ball and just hold it and get fouled. Go to the free throw line, you make it a 2 to 3 possession game. But they failed to do that, and this man right here capitalized every opportunity since that point. I mean, the way he was doing what he was doing was incredible. In overtime?
It was.
He just took the life. He took the life. Every shot he hit just sucked the life out of Kansas Taipans.
Yeah. All right, okay.
Oh, my God.
I'll ask you this, Homicide. Of course,
I think that, honestly, I think their season is over.
Well, hang on. Hang on.
Kansas, I think Kansas season is over.
A week ago, Machado was the MVP.
He was the
But this is what I'm telling you. All that momentum just got taken.
This time last week had Machado MVP and Mike Kelly Coach of the Year.
Yo, I don't know if they could recover. This was I mean, think about the teams this weekend. Usually it comes down to something like this the last part of the year.
Yeah.
We're halfway there, right? How many teams are fighting for that 4th spot? Cairns, Adelaide, Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, right? Southeast Melbourne Phoenix lost a heartbreaker to Adelaide, in Adelaide, right? So then they drop. Cairns lost to Perth, which is a loss that you would think you're not going to beat Perth 3 times. That's just not going to happen.
I agree.
Right? So they lose that. This is a game the Phoenix was up 10 in the 3rd, and somehow they go down 10. Then the Cairns was in a full control of that game. And then to lose at that manner, now there's 2 teams ahead of you.
There's a
you know how hard it is to regain that momentum?
You know who they play next?
Who?
They welcome Adelaide into the snake pit. Take care of that, and you're right back into it.
There's a bigger
This
concern.
thing is drama, man. It's got me emotional. My emotions all over the place.
That's a nice shirt. I got that, actually. Hey, I'll
don't
tell you
have
this.
this.
I have that shirt.
Where you get this from?
Huh? It's a similar shirt if it's not the exact same one. No, what I was going to say, I've got a bigger concern for Cairns, and we're not sure where it sits. And that obviously flattens you. But Quatnoy, if that's an injury that keeps him out for a couple of weeks, and Jared Kenny played well in the 4th quarter, hit some big threes that he hadn't hit for a majority of this year, and then of course the 2 gimmies late. But he probably wouldn't have been on the floor had Quatnoy not have hurt that ankle in the 1st quarter. And we have spoken about their depth, and if it chips away, and Quatnoy's had a pretty good rookie year, that's a bigger concern for mine. I'm not saying they're done, but I'm also concerned about their depth.
We did speak about it last week. We said anytime they don't have that top 6 firing on all cylinders, it's going to be difficult, right? So in the first game on the weekend against Perth, always going to be tough, like you say, beating Perth 3 times. But Nate Jawai with the stomach bug, Cam Tragar told us all about it on the broadcast. And they were undermanned as a result. He could only play 8-9 minutes, and they just didn't have enough to get that done. Now, you can't blame the loss in Melbourne on Quatnoy not being on the floor. Certainly didn't help.
True, no.
Because they were well and truly in a position where they just should have closed that thing out, right? John Roberson just pulled a rabbit out of the hat. But you can't deny the fact that maybe had Quatnoy been able to play out the game, they'd have been further in front and it would have been less of a thing. So, yes, their depth is 100% an issue.
The night before in the same stadium, Melbourne and Sydney went at it, and it was almost a packed house. We spoke a little bit about Casper early on in the show, but it was just a remarkable performance by a team, the Sydney Kings, who bounced back in the best possible way after a zip and 2 weekend the weekend before. What do we read more into, boys? The Sydney King domination or the lacklustre offence and their inability of Melbourne to be able to put points on the board against his team and where to go to next?
Mate, a combination of all of the above and throw in their inability to stay in front of the Sydney Kings players.
Big shout out to Xavier Cooks making his debut as well.
Yeah, and he's going to help them a lot. But that's 2 games in a row where they have just Sydney. We've talked about Sydney's defence over and over. Melbourne can't handle them. Can't handle them down the other end as they put it on the deck and attack and draw fouls. Remember last year when Melbourne United owned the Sydney Kings? And they were playing one last game in Sydney towards the end of the year, and we were saying Sydney need to win this to get the mental demons out of their head ahead of the playoffs, right? They won it, but Melbourne swept them out of the playoffs. Right now, the tables have turned. That's a very similar situation to what we have here. Sydney are just a better team, and right now they well and truly have the wood over Melbourne at both ends of the floor.
As much as I love this man, injuries have riddled him all season. He hasn't been there. Not because he does not want to be there, but he's been injured. They got to replace Casey Prather. He has a 2-year deal, so obviously just shelf him. Make sure he's healthy. Melbourne United have been here before 2 years ago, came back, won a championship. They had a hell of a replacement in Carrick Felix. It worked out. He came back at the end and rode them home. He and Casper. They had a really good team. Josh Boone, Ty Wesley, Chris Golden, right? This is a similar situation. I don't know who they're going to get, but it's not up to me who they're going to get.
Okay,
but they need a third
position?
import.
If they are to do what you're suggesting, and it's obviously something that would have to be on the table.
An athletic 4.
An athletic 4.
And a 4-man that can go get it.
No, we agree, man. If they do that.
Yeah.
I can tell you that they're moving and shaking. They're not the plan. From what it seems like to me, from what I'm hearing, is not we're just going to live with Dylan Stith until Casey comes back. I've been told that they have reached out to somebody who has played in the league recently, in recent times, and checked his status.
Well, without going, before you continue, is an athletic 4 in your mind what they need?
They need someone like Casey Prather, a 3-4.
Okay.
Guy who can play both those spots. There has been, over the journey, a bucket load of all NBL level players that teams have brought in at around this time of the year. Josh Boone, Melbourne United brought him in for Boxing Day a couple of years ago. We know they got Carrick Felix. Casper Ware was late November. Go back to a guy like Sean Lampley, Melbourne Tigers, and that's just in Melbourne. These guys all over the league. So there's guys out there. If they can find the right guy, it'll help them a lot.
All right, while we talk a little bit about Melbourne and their inconsistent approach the last couple of weeks, the Adelaide 36ers have been far from it, although they were disappointing, ironically, in Melbourne. A huge weekend, this Phoenix-Adelaide game, and I reckon I said this 3 times over the weekend, but at the time it was game of the season. Mitch Creek went back to his former club and was outstanding. Jerome Randall, as we spoke about, his little circus shot handled by Randall there, is able to go down. This was huge. And they're fun to watch. And we've spoken about them a little bit. They went to Perth a couple of weeks ago and trounced the Wildcats. And some tweaking by Joey Wright. We see that Jeff Van Groningen as Froling had a huge third quarter. Jeff Van Groningen now a part of that organisation, which has been announced today. But they're into 4th. They're in the top 4, and they're playing the best of those teams around, although that's changed. Feels like it changes weekly.
Great job by Joey Wright getting his team into the top 4. They're playing really good basketball right now. I always said from the beginning it starts with that man right there. The way that he switched the lineup up when it wasn't working is beautiful because it's working now because of that. Eric Griffin, I have to give him a shout out. He missed my Homicide's top 5 a lot of times, but he's been consistent the last few games. And emotionally, defensively, that energy and that toughness inside he brings, and it's coming to fruition now, as well as him on the offensive end. DJ, Drimmick, the rest of the guys are filling in. Ramon Moore has been solid. His numbers don't jump off the board, but he's done a good job at playing his position. Joey Wright has this team looking the goods.
He's done a great job with them, and part of it comes back to the way he put the team together over the off season in terms of getting some extra toughness. They have that which they didn't have last year, and then the other part is, of course, in the pre-season when they got an inkling like, oh, we've got some good crowd support, we've got a team that could make some noise. What do we need to get over the top and become a legitimate playoff team? And obviously, he went to the owner and said, you need to bring in Jerome Randall.
I'm making a weekend trip to Adelaide in early January to watch them play.
It'll be fun.
They're fun. They're fun to watch. The stadium looks cool. I haven't been, of course, to the new stadium this year, so I'm going to head over. Do you want to come?
That would be fun.
You don't want to come?
No.
Thanks. Can't be that fun for you then.
But what I want to do is give a shout out to the young fella.
Yes.
Sometimes when things aren't going good for you, you need one good game. Harry Froling came to play in Adelaide. That was a real big performance by him. He was due. Hopefully he keeps it up. And Captain T's been there all day. Shout out to the energy god as well. He brings it to Obi Chai. Their whole team came to play. And it's always, look, if you're going against them, that's tough. But they're beautiful to watch.
Yeah, and you talk about their toughness. They're tough mentally and emotionally, that team. They're 4-5 on the road. One of the best road records in the league outside of Sydney and Perth. And while we're shouting out, let's get a little bit more specific about the Joey Wright shout out because of his in-game coaching. He's making some great adjustments, bringing Eric Griffin off the bench. I liked what he did in that New Zealand game. When they went small and they had Rob Lowe at the 5 and they were smaller from there and he instructed his team to go inside and then they didn't do it. Time out, bang. No. Follow my instructions. I'm seeing the game, I'm reading the game, and I'm telling you what to do. And Daniel Johnson scored 10 straight points. And the game completely changed from there. Because it can't be Jerome Randall from go to woe.
No, it can't be.
They need other guys to chip in. And Joey read that was the moment for Johnson to dominate. And it played out beautifully.
Any man that can go from player in a league to a coach for 16 years, import? Got to take your hat off. He got to know he knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing, and Joey Wright's doing a wonderful job because he does all his own hard work, which is not what I can, to be honest, say about Liam Santabretta anymore because...
What?
Man, people are just hitting him up, giving him Sanders watching tips on social media.
I mean, that's what happens.
And he just copy and paste those messages on. So there you go. How about you show us all the good work of all the great basketball fans around the country?
Shout out to Sanders' little helpers out there on social media. We've got some folks that were looking pretty good to kick off Sanders. Well, look at this guy with the Sunnies. Looking pretty good.
Mossy. Shout out to Mossy.
Yeah. Look at this guy on the sideline. Looking good with his synchronised reffing.
Hey! That is nice.
And speaking of looking good, GQ. Dave Anderson, look in the Corey Homicide style short jeans. And wasn't Darrington Hobson happy to make a bucket?
Oh my God.
Finally. Now, Angus Glover, big shot. They needed that. The crowd goes wild, except for this guy. Who's... not at all impressed.
Oh, no.
This is not funny. Not funny. They need a bigger mat.
Yeah, no, they need to.
The Wildcats dunk group. I'm told he's pulled up okay. He's in a moon boot.
What was he doing?
Like LaMelo.
Hey!
Talk us through this story.
I was just warming up, where I lack, Sabrina has my back. All I can tell you is that, it was the President's Cup, and I was,
There it is.
come on.
You haven't improved in a decade.
It was like deja vu for me. It was a rough weekend for you. I look at him just check out the result here. He's like, what? 75% for Bogut? Here's the top 5. Randall, Hey, pause it.
Hang on, pause that.
Pause it. Go back.
Go back. Go back.
Corey.
Come on. Hey, there's two.
Can I tell you what happened?
Can we go back?
Can we go back?
We can't. Corey.
Let me tell you what happened.
Give the man a shout out for his tweet.
What is his name?
Josh Pace.
Honestly,
yes.
From Radio
shout out
Sport
to Josh
NZ.
Pace. Shout out to Josh Pace.
Okay. Credit where it's due.
Yo, honestly, you're right.
Hang on. I want to go one step further because you also put footage from within a car where LaMelo Ball was being mobbed.
Yeah.
Were you in that car?
Why you want to know where I was at?
Because I want to know if you're in the car.
Why?
I just want to know.
I don't know.
You don't know.
I wasn't in the car.
Matthew Adekponya was in the car.
Yeah, it wasn't in the car.
Okay, cool.
It was the brother with the
Corey,
dreads.
the tweets,
Yo, let me tell you, with that one, I was like, let me just post this.
Excuse you.
Sorry. Yeah.
This has been a hell of a birthday present,
You think
Liam.
Santa's not watching at this time of year?
I've never
post
been
it.
more nervous about someone dislocating their shoulder on a golf course than I was. When I was
with
seeing
me?
your Insta story, I thought he's going to toss his shoulder
right.
out.
No.
You okay? Good.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Hey, I bet you Corey Homicide Williams isn't in the NBL top 10.
There's more?
No, there's not. Well, if you end up in the top 10, I'll leave the
crazy.
show. Fire it away.
Round 11 is in the books. Let's make this one cook. It's your Aldi Mobile NBL Top 10. At number 10, Adelaide starts the plays as Eric Griffin spinning quicker than a politician before throwing that in at number 10 for the 36ers. For the number 9 play, it's Cotton setting up K. You heard about windmill jams before, but this is a windmill dish that Nick swished after Bryce sliced and diced the D at number 9. At number 8, do you like Jerome Randall? Well, this is the top 10 for you. Randall, proving he's a star with more moves than a milk bar. A little and one fun gets him in at number 8.
Trash talking going on. Oh my goodness.
On to number 7, and after the steal, it's Emmett Narr showing off the repertoire. A long-distance buzzer beater and crowd pleaser. Just a step inside half court, and Emmett wasn't leaving that one short in at number 7. At 6, it's money-making Mitch showing off his tricks. McCarron sharing to the airborne Baron. Mr. Double-Double Sean Long, too strong as he hammers that one home at number 6. We're up to number 5, fourth quarter game on the line when Jerome Randall lets this one fly. Randall, with more shake than a rattlesnake in an earthquake, drops the dagger with swagger, and Adelaide gets it done. They come in at number 5. At number 4, cutting to the hole faster than a bullet train to deliver the pain, it's Nick K. Okay, Boomer. Nick K taking off on the runway to deliver the number 4 play for Perth. Welcome back to the Jerome Zone at number 3. Tie game as the clock ticks down. Is Randall gonna pass? Not when your shot's looking like this sort of cash. Randall, hotter than a melting candle, and he's too tough to handle at number 3 for Adelaide. On to number 2, and all Cairns needs is a safe inbound, but the Phoenix get the steal, and then things get real. John Roberson racing the other way, hits the tray. Roberson scored 21 points in 6 minutes, and when this shot tickled the twine, it forced overtime at number 2. But at number 1, what we're talking about here is a potential play of the year as Space Cam's flying in from the upper atmosphere. Scott Machado sets it up with the gorgeous spin move for the piece of basketball artwork that belongs in the Louvre. The Oliver Hammer throw off the dish from Machado lands for Cairns at number 1 on the NBL tournament.
Yeah, well, thanks to LD Mobile. I was going to try and do that at the end, but I thought it's not a good idea. There it is. Okay, hashtag NBL Overtime, hashtag See Incredible, hashtag whatever the hell you want. Just get involved anytime you want to ask us a question. It's been a remarkable 25 minutes, one of the loosest I've had for at least 4 or 5 weeks. A couple of questions coming from the fans, okay? I'm going to start with Justin. We touched on Melbourne United and the possible changes they will make with the Casey Prather injury. Jay Crockett has been released by South East Melbourne Phoenix in the last couple of weeks, with Ty Wesley returning from, ironically, a hamstring injury. Is that something, I know you've got a little bit of info that you mentioned earlier, but is that someone they should maybe look at?
Yes. I think they think so too.
Thank you to Justin for actually being able to break down what Liam Stanton-Reid tried to probably hint to us a little bit earlier. What do you think? You like Crockett as a player? You mentioned him a couple of weeks ago. Do you think he'd fit nicely in that team?
I think he would. And he's here. He did a good job with the Phoenix. And that's the position you're looking to fill. Why not?
Okay. All right. NBL Pocket Podcast hits us up as well. This is a really good question. And NBL Pocket Podcast, just for people playing at home, Guy out the back, who is our main man, who doesn't like the limelight. We've asked him to come on the show, and he said, no. Popped up last week on this said podcast and now was making and pushing questions through, but it is a really good one, as we see. Pocket Podcast, he or she, there might be numerous people working there. Gibson or Bairstow, which player from NBL Bullets 19 would be helping the team in NBL 20 with their current struggles?
It's a great question. I think Bairstow, they're missing a power forward and a big body who can handle things down there. The thing is, he's a little bigger and slower than what they want to play. Not what they are playing so much, but what they want to play. Gibson, I mean, yes, they're missing his toughness and his leadership, but they have a massive backlog on the wings. You know who, if we want to look at their roster and what they could have or should have done, well, Jayshawn Tate and Cam Oliver are both guys that they could have potentially picked up in the off-season, but didn't.
You got anything?
No.
What do you like this weekend?
Liam and I were just discussing.
What was here?
Adelaide versus Cairns. That game is huge. If there's any chance of Cairns bouncing back, they have to win against a red-hot Adelaide 36ers team. That matchup is going to be nuts.
How about Melbourne having to go to Perth and take on the Red Army, coming off the weekend with no Casey Prather and having to find some form, which they didn't really find last night, although they got the pretty easy win in the end over Illawarra.
Let's talk a little bit more about why that's such a massive game, Perth and Melbourne. Well, we know home court advantage is a big, big deal in the playoffs, right? This league, home court advantage means a lot. Well, Perth and Sydney are really starting to separate themselves from the rest of the pack. And if Melbourne, it'll be like a double loss against Perth, right? If they go up there and they lose, and they'll fall 4 games behind Perth in second place, and then they start to look at a situation where they're either playing a semi-final series against Perth without home court advantage or against Sydney without home court advantage. They're in a tough spot. So if they can somehow go to Perth and just narrow that gap a little bit, pull out a win over there, that would be massive. And then the other one, I think, is Sydney, South East Melbourne. I'm really intrigued to see that because South East Melbourne played them pretty tough down here in Melbourne a few weeks ago. And after that game, Simon Mitchell, and he said it in the post-game presser, and he said it when I chatted to him off the record, and he was like, we have the personnel that can trouble their schemes. And if they have, now that they've got John Roberson feeling like the way he's feeling right now, his ability to get in the mid-range and then really start to ask questions of their defence, I'm interested to see what they can do against that Kings D. And
you mentioned earlier about the Cairns Taipans and you now being a little bit nervous about the rest of the year due to the flattening aspect of how they lost the game. Flip that. What that does for a South East Melbourne Phoenix to be able to pull something out. Sometimes you need a little bit of luck and whole things changes. So when, you talk about Cairns and maybe having a slight concern, then it might work the opposite for South East Melbourne Phoenix in 20 seconds or less.
I want to flag something real quick.
Fly.
This idea, Bogut, Long, it's the ref's job to keep the stars on the floor. No, it's not. It's the ref's job to call the game. It's the stars' job and the coach's job to keep them on the floor.
You know why he brought this up now? Because he knew we'd lose our mind and argue for half hour. Just hold it. Double overtime, double overtime, double overtime. See you, crew. Thanks for listening and watching.
I was about to talk.